So, another episode of Last Meal on Earth. Today, I've got Anthea Ferrell. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly.
I'll accept it.
So,
Sometimes
yes,
when I'm in France, they do that with me. They pronounce my surname like that in France because I
uh,
also sing with a tribute to Boney M,
mhm.
and I do gigs over there.
So, the first question is
Yes.
basically get a little bit more information about yourself. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And where are you living now?
Okay. As my parents came from different countries and met here, I was born in England. Can you see me clearly?
Yes, I can. Yes, yes.
Okay, good, because I can see you clearly, but I can't see myself clearly, but not to worry. Maybe I just need to expand it, but I'm not doing it if there's a reason. Right. So I was born in Swindon
Mhm.
in Wiltshire, and I now live in London.
So that, yeah, and effectively, what sparked your interest in wanting to sing professionally?
Well, what happened was my mother was a midwife at the local hospital. And because she used to work nights a lot and needed a rest and all that, and my dad was in the Air Force, she used to drop us off at the nearest kindergarten, which happened to be a dancing school. So it's a Tanwood School of Dancing. So I used to do my lessons there. I used to do tap and ballet and, modern jazz, as they called it in those days. And as I was growing up, I used to take part in the annual shows and do the local festivals in Swindon or Cheltenham. And doing that, I caught the bug that way. And I just felt that this was me. This is something I wanted to do.
Mhm. So, were there any specific other moments, or was this your first moment that you thought you were very good at singing and doing that sort of thing, and you wanted to pursue that as a career?
It was sort of a bit like that. Another incident, it's a bit strange and silly, was when I was a very little girl. I was once. A friend of mine, Janelle Daniels, was singing a song really beautifully, and I was practicing the song because I just thought how wonderfully she sang it, and then I found that I could sing, and so I started singing in front of my family and friends at home. And then at my dancing school, they, caught on that I could sing. And so they thought it would be an extra edge to put into their
Mhm.
annual shows.
Yes, yes.
And so I started singing in part of the dance shows in Swindon at the local theatre.
And going forward, I mean, did you then uh, engage with any professional sort of singers that could hone your voice, or are you sort of self-taught?
Well, my mum did pay out for me to go to singing lessons because she thought, well, might as well make the best of this. So I did that, and I used to see quite a few shows as a youngster, and it sort of went on from there, really.
So do you have a specific favorites song you'd like to sing, or is it sort of across the board?
It's a bit across the board, but my lucky song seemed to be God Bless the Child. I got into that one when I went to see Bubbling Brown Sugar in my early 20s, and that song just hit me to the core.
Mhm.
And Stormy Weather was one of the first public songs I sang. And those two songs have a strong resonance with me.
So where was your first public appearance?
My first public appearance was in a theatre in Swindon, but it
Mhm.
wasn't the Wyvern. I've forgotten the name of it because there used to be a theatre before the Wyvern was built.
Mhm.
And my dancing school put on a pantomime, and I played a genie, and I had to sing "Food, Glorious Food" for some odd reason. And
Okay.
I think that was one another of my early public renditions of singing.
So what types of music do you enjoy singing? I mean, you gave some specifics, but what types of music do you enjoy?
I do enjoy jazz.
Mhm.
I love listening to jazz. I could listen to Ella Fitzgerald all day long. I just think she's absolutely marvelous. And then whenever I get stuck with phrasing, I like to listen to Frank Sinatra because I think he always gets it right and it always makes sense when
Mhm.
he's phrasing something. I used
So
to love Cleo Lane as well.
mhm. I mean, with jazz, it's sort of fairly loose, and you can almost make it up as you go along. I mean, you obviously have to sing the words, but it's down to you
Yeah.
in that particular moment how you feel. Is that
Yeah,
how
it's up
you?
to us to make it interesting, yes. But I try. I mean, when I'm singing jazz, I do try before I start going off in my own world to establish the actual melody because I know some people actually like to recognize the song you're singing. So, because I know sometimes you could get so wild that you got the background arrangement, but what you're singing is nothing like what the original song was. And so I think I owe it to my public for them to recognize some of the song at least before
Mhm.
I start scatting. I think it's only fair.
And then do you train your voice? Because if you're singing for a long time, you can sort of wear out your voice. Do you actually sort of sing in a particular way so that you can maintain your voice for a long
I've got
period?
my favorite exercises I do that sort of
Uh,
get me through a show. Scales are, it's mainly scales and humming and that sort of thing. I do like arpeggios. I do scales going up in fifths. I'll do the octaves.
mhm.
Like when I was younger, I had a very strong 3 octave range. And one of the West End shows I did, this was before I managed to get singing seriously. I
Yes.
started off in the show business as a dancer, wanting to sing. And then
Mhm.
in my 30s, I started getting the opportunities to sing.
Mhm.
And I remember auditioning for 42nd Street, and their test to test people's range was to make them sing Bits of Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yes, yes.
So they would do that to me. And I just stopped them. I said, look, you'll be here all day. I said, look, I've got a 3 octave range, okay? Leave me alone.
Yes. Let's have a look. So are there any particular sort of theatre shows that you would like to perform in, or are you more sort of the more intimate, happy with the relevant song range that
I'm
you're
happy with my intimate performances at the moment, but I feel as if my life is sort of split in two. But because a lot of things that are happening now, I wish there was that sort of opportunity when I was younger.
yes,
Like
yes,
for
yes.
example, I wanted to be part of the chorus of Les Miserables. I auditioned, but I was told that there wasn't any black people there at the time, which I don't think was true, but I think they just didn't, sort of envisage it. But I think they have black people in it now, but at that
Mhm.
time they didn't.
But
Um, there's
the
Moulin Rouge I've been
yeah.
meaning to see because they've actually got a black lead in it. I thought, wow, I would have loved an opportunity like that in my 30s, but I would like to see it to support her, but I haven't got round to it yet, but I will.
Well, I mean, the thing is that there's always a chance in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s,
Exactly.
because with singing, I don't think you really lose your voice until you're sort of in your late sort of 80s, 90s.
Exactly, yeah. I've been
And
lucky so far.
so, what do you think your strengths are with your voice outside of the 3 octaves?
Well, I'm normally fairly good at improvisation,
Mhm.
and I can normally so if I'm with people and people are singing, I can normally invent a harmony pretty quickly to help them out. So so that seems to work out okay, and we just have fun with it. But it doesn't mean to say I'm a totally undisciplined singer. I mean, I can be disciplined. I can
Yes,
do as
yes.
I'm told sometimes.
So, have you been on the stage with somebody that is famous and you sing as a with them directly, or you've been sort of on the stage, at the same sort of period of time?
Well, let's put it this way. I joined 42nd Street the same time as Catherine Zeta-Jones before she was famous. So yes, I did sing with her as a famous person because we did rehearsals together. She
Mhm.
was with the altos, I was with the sopranos.
Mhm.
And as she was from Wales, which wasn't too far from me, so we did used to
Yes.
chat sometimes. So that was fun. We don't chat now. We haven't had a row, but I mean, she's up here and I'm not up there, so it's just that. I'm sure that if we were reintroduced and stuff, we would have a laugh or whatever, But it's been quite a while now. With the tribute to Boney M that I sing with, so that's different, of course, to the jazz, but I enjoy that too. I did start working with it with the original man from Boney M. So I worked with Bobby Farrell for
Mhm.
quite a number of years. I don't know if that's how I got the job because his surname's Farrell and mine is Ferrell. And I still don't know if we're related or not. Hope not, but
So,
but
which singers do you admire? Maybe because of the longevity of what they're doing or the number of number one hits that they've got, rather than what songs that you enjoy to sing.
okay. I mean, like I do admire Lee John from Imagination. And quite often, like when I was working with Bobby, but I did a tribute to Boney M now,
Yeah.
but with the tribute when he was the lead, we did a lot of shows together. It was such a lot of fun. So we do all these shows around in France, and we were with the Gibson brothers, Saint Esmeralda, and all sorts of people. It was a lot of fun. And I think me and Lee became friends simply because we were one of the only ones from England, because nearly
Yes.
everybody else was French. So, and I admire his longevity.
So, if you hadn't gone down the route of singing, is there any other vocation that you may have gone down?
If I wasn't singing, I can't really think of anything. But my day job, I've sold makeup in stores
Mhm.
and I now sell clothes. I now work for Hobbs. But if I wasn't singing, maybe it would have been a career in makeup.
Oh, that's interesting. So, from a layman's person, can you
Yeah.
explain your profession? Because a lot of people think, you just spend the time on the stage, you do your piece, and then that is it. But obviously, being a singer, there must be a whole behind the scenes things that you need to do to actually sort of enhance your, maintain your voice, enhance your voice, and make sure that the mind remembers the words and the
That's a
harmony
good
and
one.
so forth.
That's a really good one. The mind remembering. So, I mean, like, you've got to remember that. Oh no, you don't need to remember. I need to remember. I am no longer under 50, and it was a lot more fun being under 50. I'm well over 50 now. And when I was younger, I used to be able to learn a song really quick like that. Now it takes me a bit longer, and I have to just keep going through it in stages. But I try and persevere with learning new arrangements or new songs because I think it does help your brain.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so it's a little bit longer for me to get a new song in my head, but I think, well, look, for my own sanity, I must try. So I have my little techniques to make sure it gets in my head.
Hmm. So you're not
Um,
allowed to have sheet music, on the piano or on some sort of part of the stage. You have
well,
to.
well, with my act, I mean, I do it from memory.
Mhm.
Luckily, I can come up with words quickly, so then if I've forgotten a word, then I can normally insert something that makes sense.
Yes,
And
yes.
then I'll remember where I went wrong, and then I'll go home and rehearse again.
So you can improvise, and the audience,
Yes.
think that, oh, it's
Okay.
mostly
And
okay.
yeah, and I try not to abuse my body too much. So I've never got into the drug scene.
Mhm, mhm.
I just didn't really see the point of it. even though people might have thought I did, especially working with Bobby. I mean, I remember going back to my dance agency when I had just joined him. I'd just been working with him for about 3 months at that time. And my agent at the time was quite concerned. And so he said to me, "Now, Anthea, you're working with Bobby Ferrell." I said, "Yes, yes, I'm working with him." He said, "Are you now taking drugs?"
Oh,
And I thought,
terrible.
I was really quite cross with him. I said, "Jamie, how long have you known me as a dancer working with your agency?" And it was about 15 years. I said, "Did I take it then?" And he said, "No." I said, "Why am I taking it now then?" You know? So yeah, it's just not been an attraction for me because I just like to I like to be there, So so
Yes,
I just
yeah, yeah.
I just I don't really see the point. I know some people feel it helps them artistically and stuff, but I haven't actually found the point to take the drugs. I've not really found a need for it. If other people want to do it, it's up to them. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lecture them or whatever because I don't
No,
want to be
no, no.
trapped in a situation of anyone saying, "Oh, so you think you're so high and mighty." So I think I just leave them do their bits, and then hopefully they'll leave me alone.
So,
Um,
um,
yes.
what performances are you doing at the moment, and what performances do you hope or are in the pipeline for the future?
Well, what I've got on the 21st of May, I've got a show at the Pheasantry, which is part of the Pizza Express train on the King's Road. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't got anything in my jazz act after that, but I hope it's my dreams to get a booking at Ronnie Scott's. So I'm just going to keep plugging on and oh yes, and I mean Sean, he's very clever and I know it's my duty, especially as an older person, to get more up to date with technology and social media. I know this is the way forward. I sense it. I feel it in my bones that if somebody would show me quietly that I can actually do it, but I'm learning. I just think it's
It's
amazing.
it's all
I mean, I love the thought of technology. I love what it can
yes,
do and the possibilities of it all totally excites me. But I'm a little bit slow at taking it up, but I will get there. I still
but
can't believe. Yes.
the possibilities where somebody has a voice or vocals, I mean, on the internet, it's just everywhere. I mean, you've got things
Hmm.
like SoundCloud where you can listen to a complete range of music. I mean,
Hmm.
and interestingly, you can put your songs on for free.
Right.
So that's so.
I haven't actually, people tell me I should write songs. I haven't actually got into writing songs because I just feel as if there's so many people who write songs so brilliantly. What have I got to add to that? I'm
I
not averse to
suppose
adding verses and ditties and stuff, but I haven't actually got round to writing a complete song.
I suppose the ones that win from a layman's point of view are songs about your life experiences. I think they're the
Yes,
ones that seem to come across um, from my sort of, complete spectrum of listening to music, which
yes.
which I don't think many people have. They just say, "Oh, I just like this section. I like the 80s," and they think, "Oh, I don't
Mm.
listen to anything that's
Yeah,
brand
Taylor Swift
new."
has been making a mint doing that. Her poor boyfriends, I really feel for them. It's like
So,
danger, danger. You're getting involved with Taylor Swift. Beware, you know what's going to happen to you.
well, she's made her first billion. She's trying to get her second billion, isn't she? With
Yeah,
suppose you got to make it while you can.
exactly.
Which so leading on from that, what is the best aspect of the job? Is it sort of the enjoyment of singing? Is it that you get the round of applause from the crowd? Is it
Yeah, I
that
love the applause. Of course I do. I mean, then it knows I've done it right, you know. And I just love the joy of singing and sharing with people. And if they like what I do, that's reward enough. Okay, of course we need to get paid,
yes,
but
yes, yes, yes.
but I just really really love performing. I still get a joy and a buzz out of getting up on stage and doing a performance.
Mm. So do you like singing more with instrumental or do you like it solo?
I like with the instruments. I haven't got my own band together yet, but one day I hope I could get my own trio. And I just think of all the fun we could have with a trio. Um, so so I've got my trusty pianist at the moment, but yes, eventually I would like to have a trio. Okay, I suppose you could say, yeah, use backing music. Yes, that's fun as well. But it's nice to be there with your mates playing with you uh, and working that way. I think it'd be lovely with a trio.
So you'd have your what, traditional piano, guitar.
Piano, bass, and drums,
Would
yeah.
you have a trumpet or would you have a clarinet or would you have a
I would
saxophone?
I would never say no to that. I'll never say no to clarinet or saxophone. Oh, especially saxophone. No, definitely would not say no to a saxophone.
Yeah, I think that the
I'd
best
have a
music,
saxophone, yeah.
the
Then
best
that could be a
music.
quartet. That would be a quartet then with a saxophone. Yeah.
I mean, for personally, the best music I've listened to is with the clarinet.
Hmm.
'Cause I think it's the range that it can give and it's the power as well. So I'd like to draw the attention now to your hobbies. So you've probably got a reasonable amount of hobbies when you're sort of not singing or working selling makeup. So, I mean, do you have any hobbies or interest outside of that area that
Not that many eyes. I mean, I enjoy cooking. I'm not the world's best cook, but I do enjoy cooking. And sometimes when I'm abroad, if I see a dish that looks interesting, I think, well, I wonder how that was done, and I'll see whether I can sort of recreate it at home. You know, because even though I'm West Indian, I like to try a wide variety of food. I do like to try new things.
so I suppose you're err on the side of spicy rather than plain, do you or
Yes,
not?
I do. Yes, I do err on the side of spicy. But I try and be considerate if I'm cooking for my flatmate or friends, because I know not everyone wants to be like flying out the window of spice. So so I'll keep it, I'll be reasonable. I'll be kind.
So when you're watching from your sofa, what's your favorite theatre or musical production?
When I'm relaxing and watching TV, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I love a mystery.
Oh, okay.
Um, I mean, like at one point I was into the Poirots, and then I was into Murder She Wrote, I'm afraid. I like Castle. I just love the silliness of Castle. When I, when I think, well, how can they come up with that plot or the other plot and the ridiculousness? And that music at the end of Castle is just so silly. It always makes me laugh. It's always like the music is like a joke. It makes me laugh all the time.
Yeah, I enjoy watching Columbo because you know
Oh
who's done
yes,
it,
he's good.
and it's the weirdness of him trying to get somebody who did the murder, and they always says, "Yes, I
Hmm.
did it," so rather than try to avoid it. Um, do you like
And there was
watching?
an Australian one, I've forgotten the name of it, and she was really lovely. I really liked her. The Australian who did it.
Oh,
I've
okay.
forgotten her name, but I think you know who I mean. And she had a short black bob and always had the most amazing wardrobe and always so arch and always so clever and always out, you know. I mean, the police got annoyed with her because she outsmarted them every time, and she could
Do you
fly a
have
helicopter and everything. Oh, she was fun. I love that series.
do you have a favorite film that you always try to go back to and rewatch?
I know it's really silly. It has to be Singing in the Rain
So
with
you
Gene Kelly.
like me when they are singing in the rain,
Oh yes, yes,
tune, and
yeah,
the thing is that there aren't many people that can use the props and the stage and manage to sing so eloquently as that's
yes.
which
I was always from a youngster. I was always a Gene Kelly fan. I just loved the way he danced. I know some people are their Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly. I was Gene Kelly because I just loved his athleticism and the fun he put into his dancing. And I remember one time I was working with a French dance company. I can't speak French fluently, but I can get by.
Yeah.
And one time I couldn't get back home for a holiday break, so I was staying with my friend Patty, and her family didn't speak English, but I managed to get by. And oh crumbs, I saw in a newspaper, this was before mobile phones and all this sort of thing, so I saw in a newspaper that there was a sort of a variety type program with Gene Kelly in it. I
Mm.
thought, oh, I've got to see it, it's Gene Kelly, I'm going mad, it's got to be Gene Kelly. And so I persuaded them to watch this program. Well, Gene Kelly came on, and in French, he spoke French fluently, and in French, a little horror, he said, I don't sing, I don't dance anymore. I just do interviews.
Oh.
And I started to cry. I just cried because I thought he would have at least sung a little bit of Singing in the Rain or something, but he stopped performing at that point.
I think the best that I've seen is when he was dancing with the coat stand.
Oh yes, yes.
That's the best. I mean, do you read books, or do you not have a great deal of time to do that?
I haven't got a lot of time for that at the moment, but I think in later years, yes, I will get back to reading books because in my youth I did used to enjoy curling up with a book.
And then do you have a favorite location in the UK or some other country that you like to go and visit on holiday or to move to permanently?
Well, I haven't thought, oh, I don't know. I did have a sort of a fleeting thought of going to France.
Mhm.
I mean, I go there quite often, and so I'm sort of quite at home in France. And sometimes I like Holland, but I think that if I was going abroad to live, I hadn't really thought about it seriously, but it'd either be France or maybe the south of France, or still France, or Spain for the weather.
So let's move on to the crux of this podcast, the food aspect.
Okay.
So what is the best restaurant that you've eaten at?
Oh, I think there are quite a few lovely restaurants. I can't really stick one in my mind. Though my favorite, I think it's because the owner has become such a good friend, is Sicily, which is near Victoria Coach Station. I always love going in there for a meal and to see Robert. It's always a joy.
So what's your best food experience?
Oh, I love his salmon. Oh, I'll kill for his salmon.
Is that smoked or unsmoked?
It's not smoked. It's fried. It's not
Oh, okay.
smoked,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
fried. It's a really nice salmon.
So
And then
what's
at
your
one point, I used to like going to Trader Vic's at one point, but I don't go there anymore. But that used to be lovely.
what's your traditional food favorite?
Well, my mum's chicken, yeah, stewed chicken, Jamaican style.
Oh, lovely. Very spicy.
It is quite spicy. And some friends of mine have been trying to get me back home, so to speak, with food. Like a good mate of mine, he loves going down to Brixton for
Yeah.
his Jamaican West Indian food. And I got into the stewed veg, the steamed vegetables, West Indian style. Oh, it's such fun to do, so 'cause I'd forgotten about it, so then we were getting it, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting, and I thought I really like this, so I started looking up on the internet how to do the steamed veg because I hadn't done that, so it's a lot of fun. It's like with grated carrot, and it's like with white cabbage and onions and
Yeah.
tomatoes, and of course peppers and the two types of onions, the spring onions and the normal
Yeah.
onions and all that, and you cook it in stages with the stock cube and garlic, of course, and
Sounds
oh,
lovely.
it's really really nice.
So what's your favorite fruit? Do you have I mean, do you like fruit that's hard to get, or do you just use like normal run-of-the-mill fruit?
Well, I'm always stocking up my freezer with blueberries, and that's my current favorite at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I love making fruit smoothies for breakfast, and so that will have bananas and blueberries or raspberries and red currants and all that in it.
So, we've come to the main element of the podcast is the what you would have as your last meal on Earth. So this is without any caveat of where you can go, how much you can spend, and how much time you can set aside for it. So would you use a new recommendation, or would you have a repeat dining of somewhere you've already been to for this
I
last?
think most probably if it's going to be my last meal, I think I'd want something from home as such. So if I most probably go for rice and peas and things like that.
So when would you time the meal? Would it be sort of, I suppose doing it for breakfast might be a bit boring, but when would you have that particular meal?
Um, I suppose that, if it's going to be the last, if it was possible, maybe as a sort of a barbecue on a beach somewhere.
Oh,
And if
that's
that wasn't po or if that wasn't possible, with a family, with a family member, if it was going to be my last meal, I most probably go up to my sister's.
so that leads me on to the next question. Would you do it as an intimate meal, or would you invite all the family and friends around?
Well, I most probably whoever's left invite some and whoever can travel. Some friends and family. Yeah, I most probably go up to my sister's. Mm.
So what would you wear? Would it be more like a formal, casual, smart?
It'll be smart casual.
And then what would you, I mean, would you start with some sort of hors d'oeuvre or starter?
Yes. Um, well, if it's the last meal you want to go for it, don't you? Yeah, so most probably
Oh,
have something like a prawn starter,
nice.
and then a lovely meal, and uh, and some sort of dessert, like oh goodness, that's my favorite dessert. So I mean, I know it's very silly, but I really like chocolate mousses at the moment.
Oh, nice. And then for your main, what sort of food would you entertain? I mean, you said there's a barbecue, but what sort of specifics would you have for that? Would you have some like spare ribs, or would you have what is it? Uh,
I might add steak to the equation because as it's the last one, it wouldn't
yeah,
really matter about cholesterol and stuff like that. So
no,
most probably have some corn, the corn
yes,
on the
yes.
cob roasted and some chicken and oh yeah, some steak bits, of course,
Mhm.
and and a few spare ribs with a lovely, with a lovely salad and lots of veg and
That's
things like that. Oh, yeah, some plantain. Gotta have some plantain. That would be lovely.
good. So, so would you have beer, wine, or a soft drink with this with your meal?
Um, what would I have? I'm a wine drinker, so
Oh, nice.
it's likely to be a wine. Or if we did end up on the beach, it would be some form of punch that everyone would have made up.
So, would you do your traditional favorites, or would you try a first or second growth?
I most probably then stick to favorites at that point, seeing as it's the last meal. I mean, like say, it could be like a nice sangria would be quite fun. I think nobody would object to sangria.
So you wouldn't, would you go and push the boat out and then finish with a cocktail at the end of the day?
Oh, why not?
So are you a tea or coffee drinker, or do you
I'm a
like
coffee
character?
drinker. I'm a coffee drinker, but I don't drink too much of it. I try not to have many more than 2 cups a day of coffee, so I really savor my coffee.
So are you one of these ones that, it's very quick and it's all instant coffee, or do you really, select your brands that
It
you
is instant because I don't seem to have the time to start like really creating the coffee. So it is instant, but a nice instant.
And then would you have any particular background music to this meal?
Maybe not, for the simple reason that if it's my last meal, I'd like to, whatever people are saying to me, I'd like to take with
Oh,
me and
okay.
make sure I can hear it
Yes.
properly.
So I suppose as a wrap up, is there any your former self? How would you like to talk to them if you could about some really good nuggets about how they should live their life and
To my former self.
meet challenges? Yes.
Right, to my former self, I most probably would have said like maybe to be a bit more patient with things and to have gone to Guildhall College of Music and complete the course.
Well, there's still time to complete, is there or not?
Yes. So that's about it really, to be more patient because when I was younger, I was very impatient about things. But if I was a bit more patient, I most probably would have got a lot more done.
And then is there any question that you thought I'd ask you, which I haven't?
Well, I'm glad you haven't asked me my age, but stick to that. I'm not going to tell you.
Well, of course it's 21, isn't it?
Yeah, I could be 21 forever.
So should we
I admired Joan Collins for that. I mean, she didn't say her age until it really didn't matter. So while she was in her 50s and 60s and up to her 70s, she kept it a secret. I think it's when she got to 80, she thought, well, I might as well let them know now.
was it but was it her that said that I'm going to tell you how many times I've been married, not how old I am? Was it her? I think it
It
was.
sounds like a Mae West saying.
So should we finish on a song?
You
Well,
want me to
that's
sing something?
Singing in the Rain, something like that.
Oh goodness. I'll just sing a short bit of it,
Oh,
okay?
okay. Yeah.
I wasn't prepared to be singing today, but not to worry. What comes out, and if it's
Yeah.
terrible, don't you dare spread it around the world, otherwise I'll personally come and strangle you. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. There you go.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. So we've
Okay.
just had Last Meal on Earth with Anthea Ferrell,
Okay.
or if you can pronounce your surname if I've got it wrong.
Yes, that will do. That will do. That
Okay.
will do nicely.
Thank you.